Ain't no way you're going to believe this. On this edition of Mets Digest, we're talking about the first Mets game of the spring training season against the Houston Astros and things I had never before seen in my life. I'm talking about ABS. I'm talking about Juan Soto, and the hero of the game is Clay Holmes. Yeah, we're going to talk about that. And what's going on, everybody? My name is Flobo Boyce. I'm one half of the Mets Digest team, and I'm so glad the spring training is back. I'm so glad the Mets are back. Cue the music. Din, 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 din. But before I get into today's topics today, myself and Mike D'Angelo, we work tirelessly to make sure you have the news and notes that you need to make yourself that bigger of a fan around the water cooler. So do me a favor, if you're liking what we're putting down, make sure you like the video, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and comment below, positive, negative, anywhere in between. Don't be in that not subscribed crew. Be in that subscribe crew. It means the world to us. Almost 4,000 strong. So, like I said in today's intro, the Mets had the first game of the spring training season, and it's crazy because I didn't really feel like I could survive the offseason, but I don't got to think about that no more. In a lot of ways, this 2025 Mets team is so different. In a lot of ways, it's the same. Juan Soto's on the squad. Clay Holmes is on the squad, and they both were the heroes of today's game. We'll get to that in just a second. But the vibes are a little bit better. I know in the last video I uploaded, I talked more about getting people out to the games, but we noticed that the crowd was pretty high for that first game in spring training, the second ever biggest crowd at Clover Park, which is the Mets spring training home. But let's get into Juan Soto. The world was kind of figuring out how would Juan look like in the orange and blue. He didn't disappoint. 2-1 pitch in his first time in a Mets uniform, his first plate appearance. Home run bomb over 400 feet. And hopefully this is a good omen or a good sign of good things to come. I know it's early yet. I know this time last year at the first game as Soto as a Yankee hit a home run. He went all the way to the World Series. And I am really ready for a Mets World Series performance. Anthony Como over at MLB.com actually goes into detail about this. He says Soto homered his first spring plate appearance with his new team, driving the Colton Gordon fastball 426 feet over the fence in left center field to give the Mets a 1-0 lead over the Astros at Clover Park in the first inning of the eventual 6-2 win. Less than a week after arriving in camp, Soto agreed to be one of the 5 offensive starters in the Mets Grapefruit League opener. Manager Carlos Mendoza batted him second between Francisco Lindor and Pete Alonso, which is where he could end up during the regular season. I think that's actually pretty important about how he was slotted. Now, I understand that this is only the first game of spring training, but that lineup was pretty formidable. I mean, the first 3 runs were pretty quick in succession for the Mets. Of course, the more prospects tacked on towards the end, but being able to hit early and hit hard against a team as strong as the Astros, when they went against a team that wasn't particularly good. It's a lot. Now, I know it's only one game. I know it's only the first game in spring training, and you can't go wild to and fro. You can't say if they lost, the Mets are done. You can't say next stop World Series. But at the same time, even though I just did it a minute ago, but at the same time, it does show some promise about that lineup, what is going to be, even if we figure out the bench pieces in other positions. That Lindor, that Soto, that Alonso lineup could be pretty strong. And plus, is there some people on the cusp that if they give us some of that performance from years prior, will be in business. If Mark Vientos is still in 2024 form, if Alvarez is in that 2023 form, then we could be really set to go, which is pretty rad to say, if I do say so myself. I want to know what you think about the Soto home run. You've probably seen it by now. Everyone went nuts with it. MLB.com, SNY, all the Mets channels, all the baseball meme channels really couldn't contain themselves when they had that first home run from Juan Soto. But the real star was Clay Holmes. Not only was he given the responsibility of being the first pitcher out there for the Mets in the preseason, he did it with aplomb, as they say in SAT. Went 3 innings, nary a score. I shot the SNY for the graphic, by the way. Perfect. 9 up, 9 down. If you didn't really have Clay Holmes giving up the stuff on your bingo card, you may have to rejigger that, because even though this is a very, very, very small sample size, It's a good promise that Clay Holmes can be and probably will be a starter in that starter rotation. Currently, he's tracking at number 3, but it could be 2 or so if they decide to make some changes there. Clay Holmes again. Here was somebody that was kind of a reclamation project to the David Stearns method of doing things. Something that really added a bunch of question marks. People were saying up until the beginning of this week that perhaps the Mets rotation still needed help, still needed another ace signing, and of course you want to add on if you have the opportunity to do so. But as it is right now, what I've seen right now, it ain't bad. It's not bad. I know it's early, but Clay Holmes, man, I mean, he handled his own. He looked strong. I want to say dominant. I'm not going to call him Clay Holmes DeGrom quite yet, but the things were really, really pleasantly surprised, even for a sometimes naysayer and private guy I am. I'm positive on this channel, but I be naying them says when I'm offline. John Flanagan at SOI TV goes into more detail. He says, quote, the right-hander cruised his way through a young Astros lineup, including 4 ground outs and striking out 3 across 3 perfect innings. Quote, this was the most excited I've been to pitch, he said. New team, first start in a real game in a while. A lot of things have happened in between. Just reflecting on that and realizing the opportunity I have and who I'm doing it with. It was an exciting day. Sounds like a guy that wants to be there. Quote, I definitely felt it coming to the park. I tried to sit in the dugout before and around to see all the new players and the energy that's there. Just realizing I get to run out the first inning and the opportunity I have with this team, it made a very special day for sure. Want to talk about team chemistry? I mean, that's where it comes from. You talk about like a team having the best players, yeah, within reason. But when a player is excited to be a part of a squad and they show out, especially when a team invests in you and trusts to do things that maybe the average fan doesn't see, and you be able to deliver, I mean, that's how you build confidence for an individual player. That's how you build chemistry for a team. And those are the teams that really go far. You can only buy so many free agents and expect them to be the best team on the field. The team has to really rely on each other and really rely on themselves. So shout out to Clay Holmes for really being the man of the match, the guy of the game, the one of the 3 stars, no matter which euphemism you want to use, being a standout here at Clover Park. And before I get out of here today, I want your opinion on this, because over the past couple seasons, there really was a push to make the games faster, to make sure the games aren't going 3 or 4 hours. We got that done. But in spring training, they're testing the ABS, the automatic ball and strike system, the robo ump, where if you see a pitch you don't like or it goes the other way, you can tap your helmet and have it go under ball and strike review. And the first challenge for the Mets this season came from Pete Alonso. Got admittedly a low pitch that was called for a strike 3, and Pete, who would have usually just struck out and walked away and shake his head, said, nah, like he was LA Knight, tapped his head, and it got overturned. So it was considered a ball. And that, to me, was fascinating for a bunch of reasons. One, Pete Alonso is more confident in his strike zone that he knew instantly that was a ball that should have been in contention or be questioned. 2, the fact that it got the overturn. So now it's being used and it was a process. But more importantly, and this is why I want your opinion on it if you can. I mean, I'm not trying to tell you what to do with your life, but if you want to share your opinion on this, it's, will this slow down the game some more? I mean, when it eventually gets to be codified in the regular season, you can stop a pitch you don't like to have a pitch reviewed, or whether it's a ball or a strike. Does that hurt the game? Does it hurt the flow of the game? Is the game about the human inconsistencies of an umpire? Will this make games longer again? I'm not really sure about how that's going to apply, how that's going to work, and whether or not it will be a net positive. But right there, it was such an obvious ball that was overturned to being a ball. It didn't really impact the pace of play. I think they were still at 2 hours and 20 minutes when it was all said and done. So I liked it. I like the idea of it. I like having the tool. I'm just concerned about whether or not it will hurt the pace of play or use for gamemanship if you get into a playoff situation, if you want to knock off the pace or throw off the timing of a pitcher. Well, that's only one game down. Not even one full season or regular season game. That's a spring training game. And already I got a lot of good things, a lot of good vibes about this team. You let me know what you think in the comments below. But it's high time I get out of here. There are a lot more games to watch over the next couple of weeks because baseball is back, baby. My name is Flobo Boyce. I'm one half of the Mets Digest. If I'm not here, check me out on my website. It's called justthe Sandwich.com. But until next time, as always, it's LGM to the bitter end.